thank you first of all for giving up some of your Saturday. I know how busy everybody's lives are right now, but thank you for giving up your time to learn more, to be able to better advocate for our members and our schools. First of all, I wanted to take a moment to introduce our SDA leaders and staff that are here, because we could not do an event like this without all of them. So if there's any SDA board members, if you could please stand. So we have Scott Mullen, our SDEA secretary, Kristen Brown, our newest SDEA board member, Greg Nunn, we have Samantha Brown, and Juan Sebastian Ulloa, and Nick Sincata. Any others that I missed? No? Okay, great, thank you. We also have some of our SDA staff members here in the back. We have Abdul Saeed, Betty Timko, Lisa Steinberg, Anthony Saveja, Jonathan Mello, and our newest addition, Carlos Mejia, who is our new SDEA executive director. Oh, sorry. And Morgan Thornberry. A few other special guests that we have here today. We have Roberto Rodriguez, our CTA District P board member. And joining us today we have Eric Hines, our CTA president. Bill Freeman, our past SDEA president and NEA board member. And then you'll also see other CTA staff here helping with our fall leadership and our picnic this afternoon. And one of those we have Ed Sippy, our CTA Communications Region 4. Is there anybody that I've missed? Great.
Do a quick hand clap before we get started? How about that? All right, folks, follow after me.
Shared sacrifice to keep our schools intact, to keep our colleagues in the classroom, and to hold on to the goodwill of all of our parents and community. Since the dark days of the recession, we in SDA have started making some real progress and have won real improvements to our working conditions and our students' learning conditions. Together we've won, as you all know, class size reduction. We've won significant salary increases, bringing our tops step on the pay scale from $82,000 in 2013 to now over $95,000 at the end of 2016. We have continued to protect our fully paid benefits, one of the last few in San Diego County. We've won additional resources for high-need students. We've strengthened our shared decision-making rights at schools and programs. We fought for reductions in testing and educator voices being valued in the classrooms, in their sites, and in their programs. And we've elected a school board that works with educators and fights for real public education. I really want to reiterate this last point about our school board and the fight for real public education, because right now we are in a fight. You may be thinking that all school board members should have or do have the best interests of education or educators and public education in mind, but the reality is in many cities across the state and across the nation, there is something entirely different. Many school board members have been elected with huge contributions from charter school lobby billionaires like Eli Broad and the Waltons, in districts as close to us, just like LA, and some even in San Diego County in our recent county board election. Board members and district staff are selling off public schools to the lowest bidders while selling out generations of students to charter schools that promise much but deliver little. I raise this because the gains we've made are significant, but our ability to hold on to them and to make continued progress is under pressure. Make no mistake about it, we would not have been able to make the sort of gains I speak of if we were fighting a pro-privatization school board at the same time. We need only to look to places like Chicago and Wisconsin to see their fights and strikes in recent years that were necessary to hold the line and prevent further devastation and charterization of their community schools. The major threat to what we've won is the rapid expansion of unregulated charter schools and the degree to which they are siphoning resources away from our democratically run public schools. Let me be clear, not all charters are bad. The profit-driven charter industry, however, is bad. Corporate charter trends of cherry-picking students and pushing out those with the greatest needs is bad. What is bad is billionaire intervention in public education and the harm that has been done to our schools, our profession, and this generation of students. There are good charters out there, but not one that is good by virtue of the fact that it's a charter school. They are good because parents and educators have figured out ways to work together to support their students. Good charter schools work for some of the same reasons my school and your school work for. The other reality is that many are not good and that too many are hurting students and negatively impacting the public schools and the communities that they are siphoning the resources from. This isn't that surprising. When you strip away protections for students, for educators, and for taxpayers, bad things are bound to happen. Here's just one recent example of what happens when you place public money into private and unregulated hands. I don't know if all of you have heard recently of Stephen Van Zandt. He was the superintendent of a school district that approved a massive expansion of charter schools. In those approvals, Van Zandt would receive 5% of the newly generated district revenue as a kickback into his own pocket, while simultaneously charging the charter schools as much as $100,000 for each school for the services that he provided from his private consultation business. This was all on top of his superintendent's salary. So why do things like this happen? Why are things like this allowed to happen? Perhaps it has something to do with the influence of the billionaire school reformers who have spent years undermining the very idea of public education while investing billions of dollars to advance the privatization of our local schools. In California, just this past primary, billionaires wrote huge checks, some as large as $1 million. Has anyone in here ever had the chance to write $1 million check? My guess would be no. And this check that the billionaires wrote was written to the California Charter Schools Association political campaign to elect pro-charter school board members, county office of education members, and state legislators. These are some of the same people that spent money to stop the passage of Proposition 30 and helped to wreck our economy in the Great Recession. Their efforts will directly impact SDA members, our families, our students, and our schools. Today, close to 20% of our students in San Diego Unified District boundaries attend charter schools. That's over 20,000 students. The majority of these charters are non-union. They're a significant chunk of teachers right here in our backyard that have substandard pay, benefits that many cannot afford, and little input at their school site. That means that the hard-won standards and working conditions of educators are being eroded and a new standard is evolving. As educators earn less and pay more for the benefits, and as the numbers of those educators grow, what we fought for so hard becomes harder and harder for those of us to maintain. We are losing close to 1,000 students per year right now, a number that cannot continue without having a devastating impact on our district, our jobs, and our community. Throughout the year, some of these students return after they've been pushed out for special education or other needs that the charter school can't handle or can't afford. At some point, the pressures will fracture our district and make it hard to maintain or improve class size reductions that we've won and the wage and benefits that we deserve. Now imagine what happens if our school board is taken over by the charter industry. The already fast growth of charters will expand dramatically at the expense of our students and our profession. These are big problems. I'm not arguing that we alone must or can fix them, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I told you that all our members had to do was their jobs. We can and we must work with our parents, our communities, our students, our administrators, other unions and elected leaders who haven't sold out or been bought off. Anyone who cares about our schools and our communities has a dog in this fight. We can't write million-dollar checks, but we have the numbers. We have the relationships in our schools and communities, and above all, we care a lot more about saving public education than the Waltons care about destroying it. I believe that in the next 2 years, we can turn the tide of declining enrollment. We can continue to make real contract gains, and we can reclaim our local public schools. So here's what we can do to turn the tide and win for our families, our schools, and our communities. First of all, we have 1 month to do everything we can to pass Prop 55 and elect Sharon Whitehurst Payne to our school board. Commit to one night for making calls and encourage your members to join you. Every single call we make matters and brings us one step closer to winning on November 8th. Who here can commit to making calls to win in November? Great. Okay, let's use the skills that we have developed the past few years and that we will develop today to build our union site by site. By reaching out to new members, recruiting new leaders, holding union meetings, and taking collective action, we can build the strength that we need not only to enforce our contract, but to fight back against the privatizers and the powerful charter school lobby. Can I count on you to work on building the union at your school sites and programs? Yes. Great. Next, let's commit to moving outside our comfort zone by organizing outside of our schools. We need to be working with parents and community to build relationships and win back our students. By reaching out to the community, we will fill the void that the charter industry works to take advantage of. At schools like Millennial Tech, teachers conduct home visits to develop relationships and better understand our students and their lives. And at all of our schools, we can build strong governance teams that empower educators and parents to navigate and make decisions that improve the lives of our students and their children. After this November election, we'll be having an exciting announcement for all of you, where you will have the opportunity to apply for some site-based grants to build community and parent engagement opportunities and plans. Can we all commit to working and organizing with parents in our community? Yes. I also believe that in the coming year, we have a great opportunity to join hands with other educator unions facing similar challenges. And unions like UTLA, Oakland Education Association, UESF, San Bernardino, and here in San Diego County, many fellow educators are facing the same challenges and are looking for ways to address them. By working together, organizing together, and even bargaining together, we can build the strength needed to fight back and to win. Many of the unions representing the educators in the cities I mentioned share a common contract expiration date in 2016, which means we will all be at the bargaining table at the same time. This gives us a historic opportunity to lead a coordinated effort across the state in support of funding and improving our schools and demanding charter school accountability. Coordination action could also dramatically increase pressure on this legislator and greatly impact the debate in the 2018 governor's race. I want to thank all of you again for being here today, and thank you for making your commitment to our students, to our communities, and to public education as a whole. Thank you for making SDEA a stronger and better union. Next, I wanted to invite